I want to play another clip because we tied in, the discussion of the Smithsonian and slavery and the reality about what party is looking out for minorities and so forth to Washington, D.C. Vice President Vance and Stephen Miller, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, laying into the white liberals, screaming at them in D.C. Yesterday at Union Station, screaming free D.C., free D.C. And as I explained before, they're literally calling for more violent crime to be committed against African Americans. It's a majority African American city, and it is extraordinarily violent. And what President Trump is doing right now is helping African Americans. African Americans in D.C. appreciate this. White liberals do not understand it. I want to listen a little bit more to J.D. Vance explaining this. He was on Laura Ingraham last night, and she asked him about whether or not this is an abuse of power that President Trump and he and the administration are carrying out in D.C. So cut 3511.
So your pal Gavin Newsom calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, it's martial law is going to be declared.
Yep.
Into that, you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days? How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So what I would say to Gavin Newsom or to anybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I'll tell you a story, Laura. A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people, not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems, not compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering.
Why are Democrats
from a mental
doing
illness.
this?
I don't know.
Why is this a political
know.
strategy?
Laura, I have thought about this so often and so many times. I don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos almost as a political ideology. And I think that part of what's going on is Democrats have gotten so divorced from the communities that they allegedly serve that they don't realize the gross majority of residents in D.C., they want to walk through Union Station and just have a bite to eat or enjoy the space with their families. They don't realize that so many people have been absolutely terrorized by Democrat crime policies, and so maybe they just don't make the connection between what Gavin Newsom says and the fact that places like D.C. or Los Angeles have some of the highest murder rates in the world.
Some of the highest murder rates in the world. Vice President Vance is 100% correct about that. Do you want to know exactly how bad it is? And again, the overwhelming majority of the victims are what? They are black. It's a majority black city, and the majority of the murder victims are black. And why? Because the majority of the murderers, the perpetrators of those crimes, are also black. And that's not a racial statement, much less a racist statement. It's a recognition and a reality that most murders are committed within the same demographic. Most white people are killed by other white people. Most black people are killed by other black people. And in Washington, D.C., it is so bad, there is an over 500% higher homicide rate in Washington, D.C. than there is over any state in America. If you want to call Washington, D.C. a state, that's what I talked to John Arlott yesterday about this. If the American left, a lot of Democrats want to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. So let's just assume Washington, D.C. was a state. It is a 500% higher homicide rate than the next highest homicide rate in another state. It is also extraordinarily light years ahead of any other major city as well. So if you care about minorities, if you care about African American and the African American experience, you want them to have the same opportunity. You don't want to have them to. You want them to have. Don't want them to have to suffer from more obstacles to achieving their goals and their dreams. How about we stop making Washington, D.C. safer for criminals to operate and commit their crimes and make it safer for law-abiding citizens, black, white, and every other race or ethnicity? I'll never understand, and Laura Ingraham asked J.D. Vance almost the same kind of question here. Why are the Democrats embracing this? Why are the Democrats so obstinate in their opposing of law and order? Why do they find the sight of guardsmen and police officers in D.C. more offensive than the sight of criminals, of rapists, of carjackers, of killers? They would literally, homeless people with mental illnesses and drug addictions, they'd rather have those people all staying where they are than actually have it cleaned up. Somebody will have to explain that.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.